The gates of paradise did not simply close. They died. When the iron-shod portals of Eden swung shut, the sound was a tectonic hammer blow, a rolling thunder that stripped the music from the air and left a hollow, ringing silence in its wake. This was the birth of the echo, the first time sound had ever been lonely. Adam stood at the precipice of the unknown, his skin still humming with the fading warmth of God's proximity. Then, the first winter of the soul set in. He took a step, and the ground did not yield with the softness of celestial moss. It bit back. It was hard, jagged, and indifferent. For the first time, the first man felt the crushing gravity of the mundane. He fell. His knees struck the unforgiving dirt, and the dust of the earth, the very substance he was molded from, rose up to coat his skin like a funeral shroud. Behind him, the cherubim took their station. The air vibrated with the presence of the flaming sword, a blade that did not merely burn, but turned in every direction, slicing through the possibility of return. It was a flickering, terrifying barrier between the flesh and the divine. Adam pressed his palms into the grit. He looked at the thorns and the gray horizon, waiting for the voice that had once walked beside him in the cool of the day. But there was only the wind, dry and mocking. The silence of God was heavier than any judgment. It was a void that threatened to swallow his existence. In that suffocating stillness, Adam realized the true nature of his exile. What word could a creature of dust possibly utter to a creator who had just turned his face away? Yet, the prayer of dust reached the ears of fire. On the first morning of their exile, as Adam and Eve lay broken against the unyielding earth, the horizon did not merely brighten, it ignited. This was not the amber dawn of a physical sun, but a searing radiance that bled through the sky like molten honey. The rocks began to hum, and the air grew thick with the scent of lightning. From the heart of this light, a shadow solidified. He was Raziel, the king of mysteries, the angel of the secret. His wings were woven galaxies, and his voice carried the rhythmic power of rushing deep waters. He did not come to judge, he came to sustain. As Adam trembled, the angel extended a hand that glowed with the luminescence of an unborn star. In it lay a book, a slab of liquid sapphire, rippling like the surface of a holy spring. This was the Sefer Raziel, containing the 1,500 keys to the mechanics of the cosmos, the hidden gears of the stars, the anatomy of the seven heavens, and the 72 names of the Creator that could vibrate the atoms of reality. As Adam's fingers brushed the sapphire surface, the warmth of 1,000 suns flooded his veins. He had expected wrath, but he received the archives of eternity. But why would the architect of all give the keys of the universe to a man who had proven he could not be trusted with a single fruit? The book was not merely a collection of records. It was a living anatomy of the unseen. There were exactly 1,500 mysteries etched into its translucent vellum, mathematical constants of existence. Adam saw the blueprints of the stars, the weight of the wind, and the exact frequency at which a soul must vibrate to remain tethered to the infinite. The heart of the text was the 72 hidden names. These were not words for a tongue of clay, but forces felt in the marrow. Each name was a modulation of the divine breath, a key that could split an ocean or command atoms to rearrange. As Adam stared, the letters shifted. It was a fluid language, a mirror of light that adapted to the depth of the reader's spirit. He realized the Book of Raziel was a bridge made of light, built across the chasm of his own failure. It detailed the seven heavens not as distant places, but as layers of reality pressing against the skin of the world. However, in the halls of the seventh heaven, a shadow moved. It was the shadow of envy. Not all the host of heaven looked upon Adam with the eyes of a brother. Spirits who had never fallen watched Raziel descend. Their devotion soured into pride. Why should the exile be gifted the keys to the stars? Under a moonless shroud, while Adam slept, the dissenters descended like streaks of cold fire. They tore the book from the earth and cast it into the great deep. Adam awoke to a silence that felt like a second expulsion. But a covenant cannot be drowned. Far below, in the sunless black of the ocean floor, Rahab, the angel of the depths, saw the sapphire glow. He gathered the mysteries from the silt and carried them through the rising tide. The book returned, dripping with the salt of the earth, proving that if even the perfection of angels could be corrupted by this knowledge, its power was a terrifying burden. Through the long years of Jared and the silence of Seth, the book passed through history until it found Enoch. While others built cities of iron, Enoch built a temple of the mind. He studied the mysteries until his skin changed from the musk of earth to the sharp tang of celestial incense. To Enoch, the world of senses was a thin veil, and the book of Raziel was the needle that pierced it. One evening, he did not walk, he ascended. His mortality peeled away until he reached the seventh fire, vanishing into the brilliance of the throne. He left the book to his son Methuselah, who passed it to Lamech, who placed it in the hands of Noah. This transfer was physical, a tactile lineage of weight and light passed in the shadows of a world growing dark. When the command came to build the ark, Noah did not rely on human logic. He opened the Sefer Raziel. Within its pages were the specific dimensions mentioned in the ancient Zohar: 300 cubits in length, 50 in breadth, and 30 in height. Using its secrets, he harnessed the Zohar, a glowing stone that provided light when the sun was extinguished. The book provided the blueprints for survival, the geometry of gopher wood, and the names of the angels governing the tides. As the sky broke and the fountains of the deep burst forth, the Sefer Raziel served as the ark's lighthouse. Noah placed it in the central chamber where it pulsed with the radiance of the first day of creation. It illuminated the eyes of the lions and the faces of his children. But as the hull groaned, the question remained: how could one book of light hold back the darkness of a dying world? The sapphire light drifted through history until it reached Solomon, the third king of Israel. Solomon sat upon a throne of ivory, yet his soul hungered for the architecture of the infinite. In the silence of the temple's inner sanctum, Raziel appeared, delivering the book into the king's grip. Solomon immersed himself in the geometry of the 72 names. According to the Testament of Solomon, he used these secrets to bind the Shedim. He commanded Orneus, the demon of the zodiac. He shackled Beelzebub with the ring of the seal. He forced the prince of demons, Asmodeus, to help build the temple of the living God. But knowledge is a test. As the temple rose, the king began to sink. Solomon surrounded himself with foreign gods, his heart rotting under the weight of his own brilliance. The sapphire pages dimmed, recoiling from a man who mastered spirits but lost his own soul. Before the end, according to legend, Solomon hid the book away in a vault of silence. Or perhaps it was taken by the winds of heaven. For wisdom becomes a weapon when the man of dust forgets his origins. In the book of Raziel, the architecture of the sky is a ladder of light, piercing the seeker's soul. It describes 7 heavens. First is Shemayim, the threshold where weather is woven from prayer. Above it lies Rakia, where stars are the eyes of silent watchers. In Shahaking, the 3rd heaven, celestial manna dissolves the hunger of the soul. Then Zebul, the site of the heavenly Jerusalem. Ma'an, where air is music. And Makan, the treasury of life-sustaining light. Finally, Araboth, the pinnacle of absolute holiness, where the Most High dwells upon a throne of white fire. The revelation is this: heaven is not a destination after death, but a proximity. You are walking through these levels now, with every breath. The ladder is within. But to reach these heights, one must master the names that knit the earth together. For centuries, the heart of the book remained a cipher, until Rabbi Akiva looked at 3 verses in Exodus, each containing 72 letters. Layered like a loom, they revealed the Shem HaMeforash, the 72-fold name of God. These are not names to be spoken, but vibrations. One frequency heals, another protects. To speak them correctly is to tune the soul to the Creator. But Akiva warned, knowledge without holiness is poison. To touch these names with pride is to touch a live wire of infinite voltage. For 2,000 years, the book existed in shadows. Empires sought to bury it. Religious authorities, terrified of secrets they could not control, labeled it sorcery. It was tossed into Inquisition fires and weighed down by leaden seals in the Vatican's vaults of silence. Even within Jewish mysticism, the 40-year ban attempted to guard the gate. But the light of Raziel is not easily extinguished. It survived in cellars and secret societies, passed like a forbidden ember. They forgot that a secret is never hidden if it is written in your own blood. We have tracked this light through kings and arcs, searching for a physical volume. Today, fragments of the Sefer Raziel HaMalach reside in the British Library, add MS 15299, and the Bodleian. We can touch the parchment, analyze the ink, and trace the 13th century Hebrew script. Yet, the truth bares its teeth. The true book of Raziel is not a thing of leather and ink. The sapphire pages were never stone. When the angel descended to Adam, he did not hand him an external library. He handed him a mirror. The 1,500 mysteries are the chambers of your own heart. The 72 names are the frequencies upon which your soul vibrates. Raziel returned to the man of dust, the blueprint of the man of light. The shift is not in finding the book, but in realizing the book is you. Your life is the translucent vellum. Every scar is a sacred geometry. The long exile ends not with a map, but a memory. We believed the gates of Eden were locked from the outside by the judgment of God. But the weight that kept them shut was the shame of man. Look again at the sentinel. The sword of fire does not strike. It waits. It is a beacon. The grandeur of the 7 heavens collapses into a single intimacy. The God who spoke the stars into their orbits knows your name. The burning sword is extinguished in a single drop of mercy. The legacy of Raziel is a whisper that has traveled through the dust to reach you. It is the oldest sound in the universe. It is the Creator saying, "Welcome home." The only question is, Will you listen?